everyone, I'm Dr. Nisha and Jacob from Career Guidance and Adolescent Counseling Cell, Alapura. Today, we are not just talking about exams or careers. We are looking at the stars and specifically a moment when one reached for the stars faced a hurdle. On January 12, the world watched as ISRO's PSLV C62 lifted off from Sriharikota. It was carrying the EOS N1 surveillance satellite for the DRDO and 15 other satellites. But minutes into the flight, something went wrong. Today, we are diving deep into an insightful article by Sri Vasudevan Mukund, a renowned science journalist and the science editor at The Hindu. We are going to break down what happened, why it matters, and why even a failure in space science is a masterclass in learning. So let's reconstruct the timeline. The rocket took off beautifully. Everything was as expected until the third stage known as PS3. According to ISRO chairman Dr. V. Narayanan, things got bumpy. There was a disturbance in the vehicle roll gates. Imagine a spinning top that suddenly starts wobbling wildly. That is what happened to the rocket. It began spinning uncontrollably, deviated from its path, and could not deploy its satellites. Interestingly, Thailand's space agency, JISDA, which had a satellite on board, was the first to suggest that the rocket and its payloads likely fell back and burned up over the southern Indian Ocean. This was not the first time. The article points out that a previous mission, PSLV C61, failed similarly in May 2025 because of a drop in a chamber pressure. It seems the third stage has been a bit of a trouble sport lately. Now, when a multi-million-dollar mission fails, who investigates? This is where the FAC, the Failure Analysis Committee, come in. Students pay attention how professional organizations handle setbacks. The FAC is not a permanent body. It's a body of experts, including the ISRO veterans and academics, called together by a chairman specifically to perform a post-mortem of the flight. They look at telemetry data, the digital footprints, the rocket sent back, then subsystem data, how each part is performed. Thirdly, conversations, interviews with the people involved, their goal to find the root cause and recommend corrective actions before the next flight. In the past, they found things as specific as a leaky valve or a slight manufacturing error. It's like being a space detective. Space missions are expensive and collaborative. On board C62 was the EOS N1, a primary payload for the DRDO. But there were others from Thailand, the UK, Nepal, France, and Spain. One fascinating payload was the KID payload, a re-entry demonstrator from Spain. It was designed to fall back and splash into the Pacific. It actually managed to transmit data for 3 minutes before the mishap. There is also the question of money. The Thai satellite was insured. but the Indian private sector payloads were not. This means those developers has to absorb the loss. It shows the high risk, high reward nature of the space industry. The article also touches on transparency. Usually, the ISRO shares summaries of these failures, but for the recent C61 and C62 missions, the public reports are still pending with the Prime Minister's office. In science, as in life, communication is just as important as the experiment itself. You might ask, why we bother about rocket failures? Because PSLV C62 mission is a metaphor for life. Even the smartest scientists at ISRO failing grades sometimes. Does the ISRO stop? No. They analyze, they learn, they prepare for the return to flight. A failure is just a data point on the way to success. It highlights the importance of accountability and meticulousness. A slight manufacturing error can cost a mission. Quality matters. It helps us to appreciate the sheer complexity behind the technology we take for granted, like the GPS on our phones or the weather reports on TV. Sri Vasudev Mukund's article reminds us that space exploration is a frontier of known unknowns. As we look forward to the next mission, let's take the lesson of failure assessment committees into our own lives, FAC. When things go wrong in your studies or your career, don't panic, analyze the data, and consult the experts. And most importantly, prepare to launch again. Thank you for joining me today. Keep looking up, keep learning, and remember, your trajectory might deviate sometimes, but you have the power to course correct. I'm Dr. Nisha and Jacob from Career Guidance and Adults and Counseling Cell, Alapura. And this is our deep dive into PSLV C62 mission. See you in the next video.